We are so honored to have such amazing guests tonight. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Lisa Weinert. She is the brilliant mind behind this gathering of brilliant minds. Lisa runs a full-service book and PR agency called Lisa Weinert Consulting, and she is here tonight to introduce our fantastic panel. Please give a hand, everyone.
Hi. Can you all hear me? Yes. I'm so excited to see you all here tonight. I first want to say a couple thank yous to the 92nd Street Y and also to Gather, which is a really awesome new digital platform that promotes author events, especially to Andrew Kessler and Angelica Triola. I'm Lisa Weinert, and I've had the distinct pleasure of being the publicist on the Hearts on Fire book project since day one, when it was just a pile of pages and interviewing visionaries in the non-for-profit sector. 2 years later, one forward from Bill Clinton, accolades of praise from the likes of Brian Williams, Tina Brown, Skip Gates, and others. Hearts on Fire is now available globally as a Random House trade paperback. But more than a book, Hearts on Fire is really a social movement, spearheaded by an amazing woman, Jill Iscol. Jill has spent the last 25 years as a social activist and educator. She's especially talented at spotting visionaries in the non-for-profit space, nurturing them, connecting them, and inspiring them. And that's what tonight's really about. We're here to introduce you to some leaders in the non-for-profit space and hoping that you'll connect and get inspired. Here's Jill.
Sometimes when you see something wrong in the world, you can't look away. Sometimes you have to stand up.
Too many of us are just floating through, ignoring what's around us.
I was starting to have this really huge sense, this basic fundamental question, am I my brother's keeper?
One person's not going to change the world. It requires all of us to be part of something big.
I'm Jill Iscol. Welcome. I believe there's a movement percolating up all over the world. And the more people know about it, the more people will join it, the greater the chance we'll have of really making a change.
Thought that if I had a great idea, I would have to wait to act on it until I was 40 or 50. That was patently false.
What I've discovered and what I'm so excited to share are the stories of extraordinary visionaries who are changing lives today, changing the world, one great idea at a time.
Mainly it happened because we were all bold enough to believe it was possible.
The hardest thing is taking that first step.
The thread that's woven through all of their stories is their respect and their reverence for the dignity of every single life on this earth.
What I'd grown up with in the West is the sense that you're poor if you don't work hard enough or if you don't have the right cultural values and all of this BS that we internalize.
What do their personal journeys have to do with you? I believe they will shake the foundations of what you believe about yourself and your own significance in the world.
Everything that you do matters, right? Every single thing.
Each of us has a gift. Finding it and using it can lift you up and so many others with you.
That dream or that vision of the world I had when I was 23 really has made a difference.
I believe that the journey reveals itself. Even when you don't see the journey in front of you, don't see the path, the journey reveals itself.
Their minds are engaged. Their hearts are on fire. I actually love watching that, mostly because it reminds me of why I'm so lucky and why I wrote the book. To be around people like the visionaries in the book has really been an extraordinarily uplifting and very special part of my own life. I want to welcome everybody tonight. Can you hear me? Okay, good. And I want to thank a few people before we start. Lisa, thank you for that lovely introduction. And I want to thank your team. Allie and Meg, wherever you are, thank you. And I want to thank my team, Sarah and Maddie, wherever you are, for making all of this possible. And of course, all the people affiliated with the 92nd Street Y, thank you. Before I introduce our distinguished guest, I'd like to say that throughout my 20 years working in the not-for-profit sector, I have met many, many people, and I'm awed by the people I've met who have dedicated their life to service. I've learned that whether one comes from a very privileged background or a very disadvantaged background, they share something. It all comes down to something very basic. The people who choose the path of social activism feel as though they won the birth lottery, and that it's their responsibility to help others reach their potential and lead decent and fulfilling lives. Writing Hearts on Fire was my way of recognizing and honoring all the people who dedicate their lives to improving the quality of life for others. Is Jimmy Briggs here tonight? No. And is Diane? No, okay. I thought there were going to be 3 of the visionaries here, but I'd like to introduce one. Jacob Leaf, who you saw in this video, is here. And Jake, could you stand up for a minute? Jake is here. He started the Ubuntu Foundation about 14 years ago in a township of South Africa. Ubuntu takes children from the very beginning of their lives, from the bottom of the pyramid in South Africa, AIDS orphans, and gives them the kind of education we would all want our own children to have. Jake has put his heart and soul into this school and Ubuntu for all of these years. And one of his students, who started at 11, which was late for Ubuntu, but nonetheless, he started in the school. And Lawanda is here with Jake. Lawanda graduated from the school and is currently in university. Where are you, Lawanda? Thank you. Wonderful. So, I'm really, really delighted to be here tonight with Tina and Reshma and to have them tell us their own stories of how and why they became social activists. So Tina needs no introduction, but of course I'm going to introduce her. Most of you know her as the former editor of Vanity Fair and The New Yorker. She's currently the editor-in-chief of Digital Newsweek and the Daily Beast. And it has been said that she is one of the most high-profile, talked-about editors in the world. I think that the reason is because, you may not know it, but she is also an incredible activist on behalf of women. She is the activist who founded Women in the World.
I want to welcome you all to the 4th annual Women in the World Summit.
When you look at the 21st century, it's the century of women.
Everyone's story just makes you so humble.
This is what church needs to be.
One life can stand for the benefit of many.
So much energy and so much excitement for something that I can do out there in the world, and I'm going to figure out what it is.
I am not a victim. I am part of the solution. I define my own future. I define my own destiny.
One needs a vision for your future. And I love you back. Thank you so much.
The shame has shifted from the survivor to the perpetrator.
Why should my face be hidden? The men who did this to me, they need to hide their face.
They shot her at point-blank range in the head and made her stronger.
They have to know they have the human right to be free from all forms of violence.
I think I was being patient over there because I knew that this man would one day be working for me.
We've added another 2 Women of Impact Awards tonight. Calder and Humera. Fearless Girl.
girls. Women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights once and for all.
That's just a little teaser. Now, many of you also know Reshma Saujani as a candidate who is running for the New York City Public Advocate Office. Reshma earned a JD from Yale Law School, and she was a very successful corporate lawyer, a former deputy public advocate, and was the first Indian American woman to run for Congress. What you may not know is that she also started a not-for-profit called Girls Who Code.
It's hard now. A lot of families right now are feeling that sense of hopelessness, that sense of desperation. There's a lot of people in the city who don't feel like they have a voice. I'm loud enough for all of them. My father was watching television one day when the dictator Idi Amin came on and said that all the Indians had 90 days to leave the country. And my family applied to every nation for refugee status, and they got rejection after rejection after rejection, till one day my father got a letter that said, "Congratulations, you've been accepted to the United States of America." Where I grew up, there were very few Indian families, and a lot of our families faced discrimination. When I was a child, I was actually beat up with a baseball bat because somebody called me a racial slur. For me, it inspired political activism and getting engaged and involved in my community, so that never happened to any other community or my family ever again. My parents' experience made me really passionate about public service, and that it's very important to give back. The city council had cut a scholarship program that there were for undocumented students, so many of these kids were just left out, graduating from their high school at the top of their class, wanting to go to CUNY, but not being able to access financial aid because of their status.
My family in Ecuador and my parents here, they believe that education is the key to getting ahead in life.
So I started the Dream Fellowship, and we started sending these kids to school.
I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning, filling out the application, making sure every I's dotted, periods in every sentence. And I got the acceptance letter saying, "You got accepted to the Dream Fellowship program." It was an amazing feeling knowing that I'm gonna get to go to school.
I developed a curriculum called Girls Who Code. I don't think we focus enough on girls as a community. And when it comes to computing, it's the one industry where you've actually seen a decline in the amount of girls and women going into these fields. We're going backwards.
Before Girls Who Code, I didn't know anything about computer science. I was like, what is computer science?
We took 20 girls last summer, and we put them through an 8-week intensive program every day throughout the summer, 9 to 5. They would come and learn how to code.
Girls can sing, girls can paint, girls can draw, and girls can code.
You can change the world if you learn this skill set.
Bill Gates, you gotta move over.
If you're a small business owner that can't get access to capital, I will fight for you. If you're a tenant that's being taken advantage of by your landlord, I will fight for you. If you're a kid who doesn't have access to computers in school, I will fight for you. If you're a working mom who doesn't have a daycare center that's available for you, I will fight for you. If you're a senior who's not getting the services you deserve, I will fight for you. And if you're an immigrant family like mine was, I'm gonna fight for you. I've always been an advocate for students, for immigrants, for small business owners, for girls. I just want to make it official.
Whether you're old or young, inner city or outer borough, native son or an immigrant's daughter, everyone needs an advocate.
Wonderful. So now we know what Girls Who Code is, right? I'm going to ask you for a little bit of an elaboration after. First question is to Tina. And Tina, my question is, you know, you and I share a love for stories, and I think we were both introduced to the world of global women's issues through Vital Voices. And I would love it if you would first tell us about what Women in the World is, both the summit and the foundation, and then if you could take a few minutes and share with the audience what led you, apart from your introduction like mine was, but what were the influences and the inspirations in your life that led to you starting and becoming really a key factor in the global women's movement?
Oh, thank you very much, Jill. Well, first of all, can I just thank you enormously for having me join you and say how much I admire Jill, who is a passionate galvanizer of people and bringer together of causes and people of means, because she knows that these two things must connect, otherwise nothing happens. And it is true to say that she and I did meet at a wonderful Vital Voices summit, a little summit of, a small, intimate, it's really a retreat that took place in Florence about 5 years ago now. And it was a group of women who were all really passionate about global issues. I'm on the board of Vital Voices. I was invited, as Jill was, to join this little retreat. And what really struck me was just some of the women who spoke were so incredible, so powerful. They were unknown women. I thought, these women are rock stars. Why are we hearing their stories? And tonight, of course, you just heard Reshma's story. And, I'd never heard that story, Reshma, about why, how you left your country and came here. I didn't realize that. I assumed wrongly that you were born here. And it just always just awes me, the kind of tenacity and sort of spiritual courage it takes to fight such odds. And I guess coming as I do from England, so I arrived as America as a kind of a foreigner, if you like, and I still slightly kept my foreigner's eyes. And I've never ceased to be amazed at how amazingly affluent America is, how the great, powerful means that America has, and yet so many people are so lacking in anything. That disparity between that wealth and power and strength and the have-nothings really galvanizes me. In fact, recently, I had to hold myself back, really, from sort of getting completely launched into some huge new mission on behalf of the women in Bangladesh garment factories, because, when I read that story of that terribly sad story of that woman who had gone back into that garment factory in Bangladesh, knowing, had been told that it was so unsafe, she went back in because she could not afford the $25 deposit on a room in an apartment. And the women who work there are paid $37 a month. And it just is obscene to think that women and men of our kind are walking around wearing these clothes that are actually manufactured by essentially slaves, working for companies really in America, Europe, but in this other place, Bangladesh. So these are the things that get me very energized. And really it's because I love stories, as you say, as a journalist all my life. Journalists are trained, to understand story and narrative. And Women in the World is a real repository, displayer, and finder of those stories. I mean, we are blessed with an absolutely brilliant executive producer, Kyle Gibson. Actually, I think is here, right? Kyle, where are you?
Kyle.
Stand up, Kyle. Who actually joined me at that Vital Voices retreat. And Kyle has an amazing sense of story, narrative, and news combined. And together we have formed a wonderful working adrenaline and to bring these stories to the stage.
And then, Tina, what about Women in the World Foundation? What is the purpose of that?
Well, the Women in the World Foundation was founded 3 years into the summit because people would come to the summit and leave enormously excited, inspired, and passionate about what they'd heard and the women they'd learned from. And we felt it was a very good idea to begin a foundation that was essentially, whose role was to connect women with women, to create an information hub where you could learn about all the new nonprofits, and all the small nonprofits, and the fact that frequently there are people, we felt it's important to hook those people up to each other, because frequently people start a nonprofit not realizing there's one doing exactly the same thing up the road, and that actually it might be a better idea for you to join forces with that and aggregate your resources. So the prime sense was to use that energy of the summit to give people that information, and then to raise some money to be able to give out scholarships to people who we think really are deserving of it. And Women in the World Foundation has therefore been able to spotlight some of these amazing women on stage and then actually be able to give some of them a $25,000 grant to be able to then, which is a lot of money, in this kind of world, as you know, only too well, what you can do with that. And this last year we honored a couple of amazing young women who are so bravely, facing down amazingly regressive and culturally the Taliban in Pakistan, and goes and talks to them and tries to reason with them really about letting their girls be educated, letting their wives go to work, but in a very non-confrontational and sort of changing hearts and minds kind of way. And they're so young, and they go into these all-male convenings of these, really, really scary-looking guys, and sit there without showing any emotion when they say, well, if my wife went to work, I would give her the bullet. And, instead of running out of the room in terror, these little young girls are sitting there going, sort of nodding and saying, well, have you considered another way of thinking about this? It's absolutely remarkable.
She was so brave.
So brave. And so, there's many Malalas who are not recognized. So we gave them the grant this year, and it was a very, a wonderful moment.
It was a very moving moment.
Yes.
And she was just overwhelmed, I think, with emotion. So I could talk to you on and on and on, but we
don't want to do that.
I want to get to
because we have this amazing woman sitting here who's someone I admire very much, and was at our summit. Right?
Yeah, you were. And Reshma, so you mentioned, you talk about Girls Who Code here. What I'd really love to get at with you, is why you launched Girls Who Code, and also. I know it's part. You mentioned the immigrant background and what your life was like and your identification with other immigrants. But elaborate, if you will, and talk about why you launched it. And again, if you can mention the influences on you.
So,
thank you.
Girls Who Code is a nonprofit that's teaching teenage girls how to computer program between the ages of 13 to 17. And I launched it because in 2010, I was running for Congress, and I'd be in some neighborhoods in the Upper West Side, and there'd be like iPads coming out of these kids' ears. And then I'd be in public housing projects, and there'd be one computer in the basement of a church. And really saw the impact of young women. And from a policy perspective, we know where the jobs are at, right? There's 1.4 million jobs that are going to be open in the computing-related fields, over 300,000 STEM jobs in New York today. But less than 20% of those jobs are going to be filled by women at the current rate. Tina and I were talking about this earlier. There are less women today in computer science and engineering than there were 10 years ago. So what is happening? Given that we live in this society, we can't just go one day without our devices, right? We're more technologically aware, and one would think young women are more technologically passionate. So we know it's not an aptitude issue, right? Because girls and boys do good at math and science about the same. But the problem is that young women, if you ask a high school girl, what do you want to do with your life? She'll say, I want to change the world. And when you then ask her, what do you think about a computer scientist? She'll say, well, I think that's a guy just typing at his computer. The connection between technology and changing the world has not been made for young women. And so I think that's something that we need to focus on. So in our curriculum, we have women like Tina and you come speak to the girls and talk to them about the importance of entrepreneurship. We make the connection between medicine or even fashion or law and technology, right? That is a skill set that you need to have regardless of what you want to do with your life. And by the end of our program, all of our girls wanted to major or minor in CS. I told the story at the summit, but we had this one young woman, and this goes to the immigrant piece, who came here from Senegal, 2 years ago, Kadi. And in the first week of the program, I had to literally teach her how to use a mouse. But 8 weeks later, she had built a website on how to teach computer science in 32 different languages. That's what's possible when we invest. And I think in New York City, if you include children, 2/3 of our city are immigrants, and many of them don't have a voice. Right, their kids aren't getting exposed to computer science or technology. I think 33% of kids in the Bronx don't have access to computers at home. in this day and age. And so as we're passionate about poverty alleviation, we cannot forget about the immigrants that are living in this country and in our city. And we cannot not focus on how do we move them forward.
So if I may just say, I mean, the whole unemployment crisis right now is really entirely only solvable this way. There really isn't anything else to solve it because the jobs are not coming back in the way that they were. I was just in Silicon Valley interviewing a wonderful woman who is media director of Twitter, the Chloe Sladden, who I'm sure you know, and everybody there was was in this world that you're talking about. And every one of them was inventing something that was going to eliminate a job, actually. And so you really were struck by, if you didn't do what you're saying, we have a problem.
Because those jobs are never going to go away. We're just going to get, think about 4 years ago, we didn't have apps. We didn't have an iPhone, right? We're just going to get more and more and more advanced, which is why China, 40% of their young people know how to computer program. India, same thing. Cuba, same thing, right? Other countries are seeing this and they're moving forward. Whereas for us, we have less than 20 schools that teach computer science in the entire city.
Years ago, there was a man who was the head of the Ford Foundation. His name is Frank Thomas. And Frank said that the foundation arm of society, the philanthropic arm, the not-for-profit arm, should be the research and development arm of society. But what he meant by that is that those are the places where we take risks, we experiment, we solve problems, and when we have solutions and we know best practices and we connect some of the dots, we feed those solutions into a policy loop. So, and we get change because government still is the arm that has the most resources to be able to fund what we learn on the ground. So, years ago, it was Head Start. That's how Head Start started. So my question for you is we know this. You're learning it. You're seeing in the scheme of things what, I think you're doing is extraordinary, and it's far-reaching, wide-reaching in New York. But now, how do you get that into the policy loop so that we begin to be able to really make a dent on this very, very important issue?
Well, it's why I'm running for office, and we were just, again, talking about that earlier. It's because I realized that I could teach Julia how to code, but at the end of the day, if she went home and her father didn't have a job, and she didn't have a good education, and they couldn't pay the rent, I could not change her life. And so for me, it was about also, I think what's missing right now in government is innovation, right? We're not having enough solution-oriented people run for office and to be elected to office. Last week as a candidate, I launched Teachers Who Code to take my curriculum and say, you know what, we now have to teach teachers. That's the way we're really going to reach every young kid to do that. And so to me, I still see government as a place where we can actually create innovation if we have enough people going there with the mandate of doing that. And I've always said, when I win and when I'm the next public advocate, if I can't bring about real change, then I'm done.
What's interesting is that we have somebody who's a social activist, a political activist, and you're marrying the two, and with great, potential for real change that you can affect. And Tina, who runs basically a media distribution world, that too, the potential, and I'm sure you've already seen it, in terms of the power of what you are able to do by learning what you've learned and then conveying it through this enormous media distribution network.
Well, it's great. It is also very exciting to see what social media can also add into the mix. Women in the World this year in 2 days of discussions, we had 2 days at Lincoln Center where we had, must have been, 25 or so programs, maybe more. Kyle, how many was it? 35. Okay, sorry, 35 in 2 days. That was a very intense. We do like 20-minute panels, and it's very, very. The lights go up here and then come down there, and we really move this thing along very, very quickly, and had some incredible women from all over the world, really, West Africa and India and Pakistan, as I say, and we generated 44 million tweets from that 2 days, and 1.1 billion press impressions. It was
That's
really
astounding.
an extraordinary media, and so it went actually way beyond what we could even, I mean, we ourselves were live streaming it on the Daily Beast, and we had 350,000 downloads of that video, which is a very, very high number. But nonetheless, what one really saw was how social media was really the amazing tool of distributing, messages, really.
It's ideas.
And to add to that too, it was we had the opportunity as Girls Who Code to be on the stage, and it was a game changer for our organization. I mean, we had more people sign up to volunteer that we are like now in the process of building a toolkit because of Women in the World Summit. I think it takes organizations like mine or issues like this one and puts it to the center stage. And it elevated the computer science conversation for women and girls in a way that I don't think any other conference can.
Well, thank you. I mean, what I think that Kyle, and I have sort of feel is that, we use, frankly, the very high-profile women, and they generously allow themselves and ask themselves to be used to spotlight women who you've never heard of. Because obviously, if you try to fill 2,500 seats in Lincoln Center and you said, come and watch, 35 panels of women you've never heard of in your life with unpronounceable names, no one is going to show up. But obviously, if you mix in the Meryl Streeps and the Angelina Jolie, and Hillary Clinton has been immensely generous, she has come every year, you then allow people think they're coming actually to see them. But in fact, they are always leave talking about the other women. It's the other women, the ones they've never heard of, is the ones that you hear them talking about in the lines to the restroom, and because you're spotlighting these women with these amazing organizations as Reshma's, where they're seeing them in a very dramatic and narrative-driven, and not necessarily talking about issues. They're hearing some incredible story, like hearing Reshma's story tonight was so amazing that you just want to get behind these women and give your time or your money or your support or your network. And I think the network piece of it is key because, we didn't arrange for these hookups for Reshma, but if you inspire people, somebody sitting in the audience, and Kyle and I often discuss how afterwards we hear these amazing stories. We have no idea of the afterlife. It's like this person met this amazing donor, this person got a TV deal, this person got, and all of it has been about growing their venture, which is fantastic.
It is fantastic, and one of the things that gives me great hope about the future is the fact that this combination of new social media, technology, has inspired a movement. The past decade, we have seen an increase in the number of NGOs and not-for-profits all over the world, and people who are going to colleges and want to become social change agents. And there are courses in colleges. There weren't those courses 12 years ago. And business schools that are teaching social entrepreneurship. And I think what you're doing and what has been accomplished just in 4 years through this Women in the World Summit is that those 44 million tweets are going out across the globe, spreading a kind of message and ideas in places and with people who wouldn't have been exposed to those messages and ideas before. And when those get to a tipping point, we will begin to see real social change. I think it's in our future, and not too distant future. And certainly when it comes to women, the more women who are getting involved in this movement, the more who will become leaders in every sector of their societies, and we will get the change that we're hoping for. But I just,
just to that point is, that I actually think that this is a real golden moment for connecting the public and the private, connecting the means to the causes, because I think that you may feel this, Reshma, I'm sure you must as you're running for office, but the frozen nature of Washington is so great that everybody feels it's such a dead morass of nothing, that it actually means that everyone is thinking, well, nothing's going to happen there. So I'm just going to go start something. I'm just going to go and start something to get computers into schools because nothing's happening on the policy level. Nothing can move. Right. So actually it's inspiring a lot of people I mean, we saw it obviously at the huge level with a Bill Gates or, Mike Bloomberg or whatever. But there are thousands and thousands and millions of people who, as you say, whose hearts are afire, who just think, I can't stand this anymore. I'm just going to do something on my own, a bit as
right.
you have done.
And what I love about, Jill, your book too, it highlights the power of networks. Like leadership isn't horizontal anymore. It's not top down, right? It's about networks. Even when I think about my campaign or my work as Girls Who Code, it's about being an advocate for the advocates that are already out there, right? It's being a facilitator for a network. And that idea of network leadership is going to completely disrupt politics, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, as you talk about Bill Gates and Buffett and everybody, my husband and I started a small family foundation years ago, and another message is that you can be very strategic and have a tremendous impact by leveraging resources and being thoughtful about how you give. So not everybody has to be Gates, not everybody has to be Buffett. There are many, many ways to give and get involved and make change. One of the things I wanted to ask you both, and either one of you can answer, is we have an audience of people who are here because this is billed as, this program is about social activism and getting involved. And I wanted to ask you both, what's your advice to people who are interested in becoming an activist? And what would you tell somebody? And I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to figure out what's your passion.
Yeah.
Like, what's the thing? Like, every time I see my girls, I'll have tears in my eyes. It's the same way I feel about the DREAM Act, right? And what's happening with undocumented students. Like, I stay up at night thinking about it, trying to fix it, solve it, figuring out how I can help. You have to really feel something deeply. And it's about, that's how I think we say this in Hinduism, it's like, what's your dharma? Like, what do you feel like God put you on this earth to do? And you have to find what that calling is and dedicate your life to that. Like, what's your commitment? And your commitment will lead you.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Jill, your book, Hearts of Fire, is aptly titled because that's the point. You have to go with where your passions lie, and feel it keenly, but also feel it enough to have it sustain you in a practical sense. It's no good just being, emotional about things. You have to decide, okay, this is so egregious that I just want to do something about it. And whatever it is, it could be, in my case, I mean, I'm not someone who is going to go out and know how to do, I'm not a kind of teach for America type. But I am, I do have things that I can bring to the party, which is I have media, I have an ability to convene, and I have, a sense of story, and I have an ability to, to tell them. And so that's what I bring to the party, and that's what I've put to this means. And Reshma is putting everything she's got into this Girls Who Code and inspiring me, so that I feel just what I've heard from her tonight makes me want to rush off now and convene a whole other kind of a computer science Wildman schools, all the rest of it. I mean, she's got me going. You see, she just did it. So you've achieved that on this stage, Jill, as you always do.
Thank you. I love what Tina just said, because I think for many of us, we can listen to a Tina Brown and a Reshma Saujani and say, yeah, she's Tina, she's Reshma, they're so talented, they're brilliant. But what Tina said is embedded in that is that there's really a role for everybody to play. And not all of us are so talented. I had so many passions that we ended up calling this foundation Hummingbird Foundation, because I was, going from project to project, which is fine. I mean, you can have many passions, you can have a passion, and you could always ask for help. That was the other thing I learned, is that if you don't know how to do something, people are out there and you can ask for help. So I love both of your messages.
And to add to that, I really wouldn't be anywhere in my pursuits if it wasn't for the both of you. I mean, you probably don't even remember, but for years I feel like I've been emailing you asking for an introduction, you know what I mean? Or for you to highlight a cause that I'm working on. And it's the same for you, Jill, in my political pursuits or in my pursuits for nonprofits. And I think that that's what's so incredible about women. And I think us as aspiring women and leaders, we have to not be afraid to ask, because there are these incredible women like the both of you that are like ready to give with open arms. And I think that that's what's so amazing.
You know, I met Reshma when you were a kid, right? You know, it was that long ago, I think. And we met, and Reshma was very wrapped up in Hillary's Senate campaign, as was I. And she was really the host. I mean, they were co-hosts, but she was the energy behind a huge breakfast for the South Asian community in support of Hillary. And I think I went to that. And what I learned there,
I was like
what?
I was
Do you remember
very
that? And what I learned was there was a tremendous affinity. Forget about, you know, Hillary and how we cared about that. But there was this huge affinity between, I felt so at home, the South Asian community and the Jewish community. You know, everybody's matchmaking there. And, it was really so much fun, and it felt so comfortable. But so yeah, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. It was
2003, probably.
She ran for the Senate. Oh, fabulous! So I had a couple of other questions, but it's time.
5 minutes, a couple questions, and then mingle time.
Wonderful. And so, who has a question? I can't see.
Reshma, I wanted to see if you were willing to explore taking Girls Who Code globally. I am a Goodwill ambassador for a foundation out of Washington called Women for Empowerment. And we have been working with acid burn victims and training them with computer skills, because they really don't want to be seen. So, you know, they're behind the scenes, but this is what's giving them employment and entrepreneurship. And I feel that this, you know, can help in many, many ways. And this is happening right now in Bangladesh. And so I would love to see if you're interested in that, if, you know, that's something that you want to do in the future, that maybe perhaps we can work together to take that forward.
I mean, it's absolutely something we want to do. I mean, especially after Women in the World, I had more tweets from young women across the world than I could even respond. I mean, it was just powerful. So we as an organization are figuring out how to get our curriculum online. So even if we can't get to Bangladesh, you know, we at least are creating a toolbox for young women so that they can learn our curriculum and build it on their own. I think that that's kind of the journey for many nonprofits now, is how do you open source things, right? How do you put your information or your data or your curriculum online so it can reach and touch everybody? Because the goal of Girls Who Code is to go out of business. You know.
That's great. So I would love to talk to you
absolutely.
further about taking
I would love that
to
too.
another level. And thank you so much for all you're doing, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Evie. And Reshma, that's a really, you know, I just got that aha, that of course.
Yeah.
I know Facing History and ourselves has been doing that for years.
Right.
But you have a template there.
Right, we have to do it. And we know.
That's very exciting, really is. And thank you for the question. Somebody else? Thank you.
Hi, this is really interesting.
Can you stand up and say your name? And I'm sorry, Eva, I didn't ask you to introduce yourself, but.
Hi, I'm Sarah. It's really interesting, so I'm really glad I came. And it's great to hear so much about giving and about stories and how people connect to them. But for me as an activist, the thing I really struggle with, which I'd love to get some advice on, is how once you tell people the stories and people are inspired and they do want to give, and people are quite good at opting in and doing transactional giving and feeling good, but how do we then challenge people to think about the responsibility they've got? So with Bangladesh, for example, how can we, without attacking people or making them feeling bad, how can we challenge them on, you know, buying in sweatshops, and how we have a huge power and influence there, and how we need to not do that rather than just give a lot? How do we turn transactional actions into more transformative, deep-rooted ones?
I'd like the advocate to answer that question.
No,
Yes, you should give your.
I mean, I think it's such a great question, because it's really about, you know, what you're asking is how do you build movements, right, and not just have like pockets of change. It's the same thing I feel like I'm struggling with Girls Who Code, which, you know, we don't want to just have a series of summer programs across the city, right? We want to build a movement to create gender parity in the science and technology space. You know, and as an organization, we're blessed to have all these kind of corporations and companies who are invested in building the pipeline. But, you know, for me, the challenge has been like, how do you see this as more than just brand cover, right? How do you see this as more than if you're a CEO of a big company and someone says, why do you have 0 engineers at your company? You could say, oh, well, I support Reshma and Girls Who Code. And part of that, again, I think it goes back to the network, right? And I think social media is a huge opportunity to, again, build this movement of advocates, you know, across the world who are going to take up the cause. And so, you know, they're actually trying to implement change in numerous ways that are beyond your own vision. Right? So, you know, my vision could have started as having these 8-week summer programs, but now it's growing into girls organically starting Girls Who Code clubs in their high schools and in their churches. And, you know, my 10-year-old niece, you know, learning how to code on code.org, it's like beyond me now. And that's, I think, is the activist in us, where we want to reach. Does that make sense?
But how do you create that structure? I mean, to her question.
I think part of it is by not creating structure.
Not creating structure, but how do you know that it's not just, you know, words on the ocean?
Well, for me, you know, for Girls Who Code, it's by seeing real change in people's lives. You know, I know Julia is teaching her father how to computer program. I know Leslie is going from having a family that was making $25,000 to working at Guild Group this summer. Like, it's about, to me, seeing real results and creating real results and pushing for real results.
Thank you so much, Reshma. That's about as much time as we have for questions, but what we really want to do is open it up and encourage you all to talk to each other. We have a number of visionaries in the room, including Jacob Leaf. Dion Billings-Buford is here now, and maybe Reshma, Tina, and Jill can hang out, and you can do more one-on-one mixing. And I want to just remind everyone that there's tables over there about more information about women in the world, and also Girls Who Code and Hearts on Fire. So you can sign up and get connected.
And I would like to thank you all for coming, and to Tina and Reshma especially for sharing their stories. And you, everybody in this room, you are the future, and just go for it and start right here. So thank you very, very much.